Welcome back to Outside View Scandals. Today we're diving into the world of ancient Rome, a place where decadence, drama, and outright madness seem to be a requirement for ruling. Our focus is on none other than Emperor Nero and his infamous Neronian games, a scandalous mix of extravagance, cruelty, and an ego so large it could probably be seen from space, if satellites had existed back then. So, buckle up as we explore how one man turned entertainment into a horrifying spectacle and, in the process, left behind one of the most scandalous legacies in history. Let's set the stage. It's 64 AD and Rome is recovering from a great fire, which, depending on who you ask, Nero either tried to stop or gleefully watched while playing his lyre. And spoiler, the sources aren't exactly unanimous. What we do know is that Nero decided this was the perfect time to distract the population by hosting some games. And not just any games, the Neronian games, a multi-day extravaganza that made the Hunger Games look like a kindergarten talent show. The Neronian Games were modeled after the ancient Greek Olympics, but with a distinctly Roman flair. Think chariot races, gladiator battles, theatrical performances, and, because why not, poetry competitions. Yeah, poetry competitions. Because nothing says entertainment quite like watching the emperor recite his own verse while Rome literally burned in the background. Now, you might be thinking, okay, that doesn't sound so bad. What's the scandal here? Oh, just wait. Nero wasn't content with being a mere organizer of the games. No, he had to be the star. He competed in almost every event, from singing to chariot racing, and shocker, he won every single one. And if you're wondering how someone can win a chariot race when they are so bad at driving that they crash midway through, well, that's the power of being emperor. Winning wasn't optional, it was mandatory. The games weren't just about stroking Nero's ego, though. They were also a masterclass in cruelty. Take the gladiator battles, for example. While these were already brutal, Nero had a talent for taking things to the next level. He introduced wild animals into the mix, forcing unarmed prisoners to face lions, bears, and even elephants. And let's not forget the theatrical executions, where criminals were dressed up as mythological figures and then killed in ways that reenacted the stories. Because nothing says cultural enrichment like watching someone mauled to death while pretending to be Hercules. And then there was Nero's treatment of Christians. The Neronian Games were held during a time when Christians were being scapegoated for the Great Fire of Rome. Nero took this opportunity to turn their persecution into, primetime entertainment. Christians were crucified, burned alive, and thrown to wild animals, all in the name of public amusement. It was less justice and more mass murder with a side of applause. But Nero didn't stop at cruelty. He also excelled at extravagance. The games were held in arenas and theaters, decked out with the finest decorations, from gilded statues to imported marble. Guests were treated to lavish feasts, complete with exotic dishes like roasted peacock and honey-drenched dormice. And because Nero believed in going the extra mile, he also handed out prizes to the audience, ranging from gold coins to entire estates. Imagine attending a sporting event and leaving with a villa. Yeah, a bit like Oprah. It's almost enough to make you forget the human sacrifices happening in the background. Well, unlike Oprah, I would say. Of course, all of this came at a cost, and a massive one. The Neronian Games drained the imperial treasury, which was already stretched thin from Nero's other pet projects like rebuilding Rome with a giant palace for himself at its center. To fund this extravagance, Nero resorted to heavy taxation and outright confiscation of wealth from the aristocracy. It turns out people don't love it when their emperors throw a party at their expense. Literally. The Neronian games didn't just alienate the elite, they also failed to win over the general population. While some Romans enjoyed the spectacle, many were appalled by the cruelty and excess. And as Nero's reign became increasingly unstable, the games became a symbol of his misrule. By the time Nero was overthrown in 68 AD, his name was synonymous with tyranny, decadence, and, of course, scandal. But here's the irony. Despite their infamy, the Neronian games had a lasting impact on Roman culture. They set a precedent for later emperors who continued to use games and spectacles as a way to distract the masses and a way to consolidate power. It's the ultimate scandal. A ruler's vanity project becomes a blueprint for political manipulation. But what can we learn from the Neronian games? First of all, that absolute power and unchecked ego are a dangerous combination. When you are the emperor, you can declare yourself the winner of any competition, but that doesn't mean the people will actually respect you. Second, that cruelty disguised as entertainment is still cruelty. Nero's games may have been designed to impress, but they ultimately horrified more people than they entertained. And finally, that history has a way of turning the grandiose into the grotesque. Nero wanted to be remembered as a cultural icon. Instead, he's remembered as one of Rome's most famous tyrants. So thank you for tuning in to Outside View Scandals, where we uncover the stories that prove truth is often stranger and darker than fiction. And remember, the next time someone invites you to a game night, maybe double check that it doesn't involve lions or poetry competitions. Until next time, and the next video is already right here in the end screen.